Being able to hit reset on life has brought us some of the greatest anime series out there. Really enjoyable and interesting stories when you meet an MC that gets to shake up their entire world and get reincarnated with some crazy strong abilities. Great to see you again at Animeology. We know that Reincarnation, Isekai and Overpowered MCs are one of the most common series out there, and that you've probably seen the classics. We're going to bring you some recommendations that you probably haven't heard of. Number 10. Kamitaki ni Hirowata Otoko. One of the newer anime series out there, you need to check this one out. An absolutely brilliant piece of work that started off as a light novel with huge success as a manga, and finally entering the anime space. Blending some interesting flavours of adventure and fantasy in a neat little slice of life bundle. Following a lonely Ryoma Takabashi that lives an unbelievably difficult and stressful life, dying in his sleep from an extremely unfortunate and unlucky accident. Our hero gets reincarnated and awakens in a strange realm. Ryoma is greeted by 3 gods that reveal that they actually really like him. Honestly, it's hard not to. Roma is a really lovable and enjoyable character that we found as the main drawing point of the series. The 3 gods tell Ryoma that they are deeply saddened by his death and give him a second shot at life. Reincarnating him in another world as a small child, Ryoma is able to remember his past life and is further blessed by the gods with some impressive knowledge and abilities, as well as the opportunity to live a new life that is full of some great companions and interesting challenges. Number 9. Demon Lord Retry. A bigger name in the anime world, but a must-watch for sure. An absolute classic since its release, Demon Lord Retry isn't afraid to shake up the RPG Isekai genre and introduce some fresh and new spins to the classic genre. We're introduced to Akira Ono, a game developer that is about to shut down the servers of his game, a moderately popular MMORPG called Infinity Game. Something strange happens and Akira finds himself in the body of his in-game character, the Demon Lord Hakuto Kunai. Although the world he is reincarnated in appears to be very similar to his game, there are a few differences. However, his reputation as the Demon Lord precedes him, and our insanely overpowered hero finds himself a target of every hero in the entire world. We join our MC on some impressive travels across the land as he meets and is joined by some really interesting and enjoyable companions that add an interesting dynamic to the series. The story arcs themselves are also extremely interesting, covering some heavy themes regarding religion, sociological problems, and even satanic cults. Number 8. Watashi Norio Waihekenchi. A brilliantly fun look at the isekai genre, we follow Misato Kurihara. Misato experiences a very certain kind of sadness. She is far too smart. Due to her being so gifted and intelligent, Murato is actually unbelievably lonely and struggles to make any friends. One day, she tries to save a young girl from getting hit by a car and dies. But luckily, Misato gets another chance and to be reborn into a magical fantasy world with one request. Her only wish? To be born completely average and normal. Murato had had enough of being special and gifted and only wished to be normal and average and actually make some friends. After being reborn, Murato soon learns that the average isn't what she imagined. This average takes into account the strongest being on the planet, an ancient dragon, and the weakest. Taking all these magical beasts into account, Misato ends up being 7,000 times more powerful than the average human, far above average. A brilliant comedy, we follow an absolutely lovable MC as she tries to keep her insanely overpowered abilities a secret from the existing new people that have begun to enter her life. A hilarious juggling act that had us entertained from the very first episode. Number 7. Knights and Magic. There are far too high-quality mecha animes out there. Introducing awesome isekai fantasy elements allows Magic Knights to take the mecha fights and background to a whole new level. And trust me when I tell you, we enjoyed every minute of it. Tsubasa Kuruta is a software engineer and a serious mecha otaku fan. A hard worker living in a pretty reasonable life until one day he gets killed in a horrific car accident. Soon awoke in the fantastic Frema Villa Kingdom, we learn of a world filled with giant powerful mechs that are forced to battle against horrific creatures called demon beasts. Reincarnated as the son of a noble family, Tsubasa has some powerful magical abilities. Enrolling in a prestigious academy, Tsubasa is on the road to piloting one of those powerful and insanely cool mechs in order to defend the kingdom from these demon beasts. Slowly filling a cast of very interesting characters, the strongest facet of Knights and Magic is a hero's journey alongside the beautifully fleshed out kingdom of Fremi Villa. Number 6. Korwa Zombie Desuka. A bit more on the lighter side of things, this series incorporates some interesting supernatural elements whilst bringing us the fantastic slice of dark comedy and a very tasty harem while we're at it. A brilliant series that doesn't get too heavy and isn't afraid to make some really funny jokes. This is an anime you don't want to miss out on. An average high schooler gets murdered by a mysterious serial killer and is reincarnated by a powerful necromancer. We follow Ayumu, a zombie that's trying to make the best of his second shot at life. The story lays it on thick as we meet an interesting cast of characters, from a powerful vampire ninja to a mysterious girl with unbelievable magical powers. Ayumu is soon dragged into this crazy fantasy world. Although the strong chemistry between the characters is a selling point, the underlying mystery tale of Ayumu trying to unravel the truth behind his murder and actually identify the serial killer is the true hook of Korwa Zombie Desuka. Number 5. Death March to the Parallel World Rhapsody. It's hard to think of any issues with this brilliantly made series. Death March certainly ticks all the right boxes to make high quality and extremely engaging anime series that had us begging for more. Ichiro is a 29-year-old programmer that works on fixing the bugs in a computer game they are set to release. Whilst working late nights and weekends, Ichiro falls asleep and is reincarnated in a strange parallel world that is a lot like the RPG world he has helped design for the game. Reincarnated as a 15-year-old named Satoru Pendragon, our hero is shocked and stunned. Before he gets a chance to understand what exactly is happening to him, Satoru is attacked by an army of lizard men. These high-level enemies ambush our hero and use a cheat code he has programmed into the game, immediately killing all enemies nearby. However, a god was nearby as well, and our hero's power level jumps from 1 to 310. Immediately becoming one of the most powerful characters in the world, with no real idea of how to return to his homeworld. We join Satu as he travels across the interesting and highly engaging game world, trying his best to keep his unbelievably overpowered abilities a secret. Number 4. Saiken Tsukai No World Break. A bit of a classic, but definitely worth a watch. Not a day passes when we don't mention World Break. There's no better blend of action fantasy and harem than you'd find right here. A fantastic series that we definitely need more of. The true strength of World Break is the brilliantly fleshed out world building and backstory. We're told of this realm with heroes known as saviors and evil monsters called metaphysicals. These heroes are divided into sword and magic users and are reincarnated with memories of past lives. Our hero Mahora Haimura is reincarnated with memories of both lives, enabling him to be a highly powerful user of both sword and magic. In an academy to hone his powers on the path to a truly overpowered beast, Mahora meets some interesting characters that bring some exciting flavour to World Break. Drafted into the team's elite group of heroes due to his insane powers, Mahora is a brilliant MC that has you invested from the very first day. Number 3. Outbreak Company. A light-hearted and more comedic fantasy series, Outbreak Company is the perfect break from some of the heavier animes you might be watching. Always a joy to return to the story of Senichi Kanao, a young and shy otaku. The story kicks off in an interesting way. Shinji gets offered a job thanks to his huge knowledge of anime, manga and video games. This really feels like a story about me, to be honest. Either way, Shinji meets his employer but is kidnapped and sent to a fantasy world. Confused and afraid, Shinji soon learns that he was actually selected by the Japanese government to create relations with this new world by setting up a company and spreading the unique flavour of Japan products to this new and exciting marketplace. We have never come across a series with such a brilliant core concept behind it. Outbreak is truly a fantastic watch that pokes a lot of fun at otaku culture. An awesome watch that you need to check out. Number 2. Suka Suka World End. This extremely high concept and high fantasy series is one that you need to be checking out. Bringing a very grim and bleak outlook to the future of humanity, we learn that 500 years have passed since the human race almost faced extinction at the hand of these mysterious and deadly beasts. The surviving humans have formed colonies and live in floating cities far up in the sky in order to keep out the range of most of these beasts. Our greatest defense against these beasts, a group of young girls called the Leprechauns. Capable of wielding ancient powerful weapons, they are humanity's last chance of fending off the attacks from these dangerous creatures. Suka Suka angles itself in a very interesting way and chooses to tell us a more emotional and heartfelt story against the backdrop of some seriously good action and fight scenes. We follow Willem, a young man that has been in hibernation under a frozen lake until he was reincarnated about 500 years later. His body is far too damaged and weak to hold a weapon, and he fills the role of a close father figure to the Leprechauns. And number 1, Erased. An absolutely brilliant series that is reasonably well known in certain circles. Somewhat of a cult hit, but definitely needs more people watching it. I cannot stress this enough, you need to watch Erased. But if you haven't seen it already, Erased will go down as one of the best all-time animes, I guarantee you. Satoru Fujinama is a young man that possesses an insanely powerful ability that is called Revival. This allows him to travel back in time right before an incident occurs and lets him prevent it from happening again. One day, his own mother gets murdered by a mysterious killer in his home, and Satoru's revival ability sends him back 18 years into the past. Reincarnated far into the past, Satoru is given the chance to save his mother and solve a curious kidnapping incident that took the lives of 3 of his childhood friends. A brilliantly grim and somber story, Erased is a unique blend of sci-fi into a strong mystery thriller backdrop.